Hey guys, so I figured today I would actually make a video of what I do when I rig up my A-rigs for the FLW events, which on the tour level A-rigs are not allowed, but at the Costa Series and the BFL series they actually have it regulated down to 3 hooks and 5 baits. So this is kind of the old version finished product of what one of the A-rigs that I would throw on like a BFL would look like. This is one actually I think I threw on Chickamauga last year. I kind of found it tucked away in my boat. It's a little rusted, but this is what I was throwing. Actually, 2 baits up here are dummy baits, and then you've got the 3 down here. I'll show you how I rig that up, and then I can show you another version of it that I rig up without the blades. So we'll get into that. Okay, so starting with the bladed version of what I'm rigging up here. So this is a Flash Mob Junior, light wires, all rigged up, ready to go for 5 baits, but you can't throw 5. So here's what I'm doing, which I'm going to spread all these out in the end anyway, but as you can see, it's kind of a smaller rig. I just like it because it's more of a, I guess, a finesse A-rig, if you could call it that. But first thing to do is these top 2 snaps up here. These will not have baits on them. So you take them off. Okay, so you have both of the upper snaps off, and so you can leave on these snaps down here. It's not that big of a deal if you want to leave those snaps on, sure. I have heard of them breaking before, and I have heard that they're junk. I personally haven't had them break. I've had them weaken and break over time, but not like, initially. But that's enough for me. Snaps are incredibly cheap, so I take those off too. Now, you have this down just to swivels. The next thing is these top 2 don't need swivels. If you put swivels on them, your swim baits are going to spin around everywhere that you have on. See, I have the swivels off the top of these, and we're going to take those off. Okay, top 2 swivels are off. What you will now need is a twist lock to put the swim baits on the top. I have Owner. There's plenty of other brands you can buy. These are just the ones that I have, and I think I actually have another brand of them in here somewhere, but yeah, I made a big order a few years ago and I still have a ton left over. So that's what I'm using for the twist locks. Also helps to put some super glue when you twist these baits on there, because you don't want to lose, if you're using an expensive swim bait on the top, it doesn't hurt to put some glue on there so you don't lose it. Okay, so now we have the split rings on the top, and we are going to go down to the bottom 3. Now, if you were switching off the snap, you can put a stronger snap on if you want to. Since I'm taking the time to do all this, I put the split ring on, which it's recommended by some people to do that too, just because there's not as much there. You don't have to worry about it breaking open or anything. It's strong. That's not going to be by any means a weak point in it. So if you want to go, I guess above and beyond when it comes to making this thing strong, put a split ring there, and then I'll show you what to do after that. Okay, so now you have your split rings on there. The next step is to put on your swim bait heads, which swim bait heads that I use, these are some Buckeye swim bait heads. I like to use really light wire and really, really light swim bait heads compared to, I guess, a lot of people originally, and a lot of people still want to use really, really heavy swim bait heads on these, and I don't. I actually, a lot of times, fish my A-rigs really shallow, and I want to be able to fish it and keep it way up in the water column, or fish it in just incredibly slow. So I fish it with 4th ounce or 8th ounce heads. If I'm fishing it, really, really deep, I'm going to throw some like 1/2 ounce heads on there or something so I can, drag it along the bottom. But on this one, I think I've just got a couple 4th ounce heads. I think I was fishing this a little bit deeper. But what I was throwing last year when I was catching them, and this year, has been just the 8th ounce heads and maybe like a 4th ounce head in the middle. But that's how I rig up the Flash Mob Junior. Okay, so this is how I rig up I think this is a Picasso. I've had it around for a long time, but no blades. And what I would do in the actual event is I would take one of the dummy baits off and just leave it like that. I might take, generally I would take like the top one off so that it still runs true side to side, and then I would put one up top, or mix it up however really I want to. I could take all 3 of those off if I really want to and just run a 3 bait A-rig. But this is strictly for fishing around heavy cover, say like submerged trees, brush piles. If I'm not actually fishing around it, if I'm trying to actually hit it off of it with an A-rig, I'll put, and this is a really heavy wire, so a lot of times I am mainly looking for like stained water, things like that to fish it through. But no blades, and I'm actually fishing hooks with a weed guard. So this thing might not look like it, but I can drag this thing through a brush pile, and it's, as long as I'm careful, it's not going to get hooked up. So that's what's special about it, and I really don't do a lot to this one. This is just kind of, and which I usually don't fish these swim baits on. I think I might have left my swim baits at home the day that I stuck these on there. But anyway, same thing. You've got your dummies right here. Those are going to be twist locks in the middle, and then this, actually, the reason I have these heavier weights on this is, like I said, I was fishing it deeper, and I wanted to kind of drag it along bottom, so I have the heavier swim bait heads on this one, but with the weed guard, and still kind of the lightest wire hooks that I can go for. I don't like to have heavier wire on the. So the swim baits that I put on these A-rigs, I really like Kitex. Most of the time I will put Kitex on any of the baits that have a hook. If they don't have a hook, what I'll use are either like just a Bass Pro Shops or a Strike King. They look extremely similar to Kitex, but the big difference is these are a lot tougher. Like these up here, these are not Kitex. These are actually Bass Pro Shops. And the difference is these are a lot softer. So when you put one on one of these dummy rigs with the twist lock, put a little glue on there, it's not going to rip out very easy. A Kitec, it'll rip right out of the nose a lot easier than it will out of those because they're soft. So I use those. Color wise, I stick to, this is the color, it is the Pro Blue Red Pearl. I don't really know color names very well. I just kind of look at the color and that's what I know them by. But that's a color that I use a lot. And the Kitex, this is what it looks like. And a color that I use a lot in Kitex also, I think it's Sight Flash. I think I might actually remember the name of that one. Let's see, Sight Flash. I was right. And I just kind of mimic those colors. That's really kind of my bread and butter that I stick to, and I catch a lot of fish on those. So it's kind of a rundown of what I'm doing, rigging these A-rigs up for my practice coming up on Toledo Bend, because I'm sure I'll probably throw a little bit. I'm sure I'll throw this one some. There's a lot of timber on that lake, so probably going to be throwing this a lot. If I do throw a lot, really, I don't expect to throw it too awfully much around the timber. I've got some other things that I was catching some fish on when I was down there in the past little while, just fishing around. But yeah, we're gonna throw those around a little bit, and that is a perfectly legal A-rig to throw during an FLW event. Anyway, what I'll do also, I'm gonna actually bend this one down in the center, and these bottom two are gonna be out and down also. So the 3 with hooks are going to be down here, and then these are going to go way up, and that will and you kind of want to play with it, make sure it runs true. But that way all the hooks are down here where the fish are going to hit, and then you just got 2 dummies up there. They might hit them every now and then, no big deal. 90% of the time these bottom 3 are going to get them. That's my A-rigs for you. Thanks for watching.